the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb and your hands is blessed. All the work that you do, may it multiply. May your basket and your kneading trough be blessed. May you be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. May the Lord grant you exceeding blessings upon everything that you touch. May the Lord send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hands on. The Lord God, may He bless you as Jehovah Jireh, as Jehovah Rapha, as Jehovah Adonai, as Jehovah Sabaoth, as Jehovah Makadesh. We worship you, Father, and we place Isaac unto your able hands. Through this launch and after, we will hear of good, great things from them. In Jesus' mighty name we pray and we believe.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Hi. You will see me here so many times, but I hope I'll brighten your day today. So we're just about to start, and really grateful and absolutely incredible that all of you made it here. I want first to recognize the presence of Honorable Esther Passaris, Nairobi County Women Representative. Thank you sana Mheshimiwa. We don't take it for granted that she actually had a very busy schedule but decided to be here with us to listen to what we are doing. All protocols observed, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Karibuni, makofi kwenyu. So many of us are asking, what is CSAC? You know, NGO world, we use a lot of terminologies. We have our own language, yeah? Where you're told RM to the left, to the wall, to the wall, and you do not understand that language, yeah? So CSAC in full. What is CSAC? It's as simple as Child Safeguarding Association of Kenya. We are seated here because we are champions. In one way or the other, we serve our children. We protect our children, and we want to see them safeguarded, isn't it? And that is why this alliance has been formed, and we want you to be on board. Okay, but before that, because we don't know who is here, I've called you distinguished guests. I want us to do something. Again, be on our feet. I'm so sorry. For 5 minutes, I want to see how fast we are. You know, Kenyans, we pride ourselves to be the fastest in Africa, yeah? In 5 minutes, I want you to know the names of 10 people here. And this is what I want you to find out about them. No, but we have not yet. You see the way we cheat. We cheat a lot as Kenyans. We cheat. You find out 10 names and something you have in common with that person. Okay. So 5 minutes start now.
Hi, Jennifer. What do you want? Hi, Jennifer. And what do you want? Sharon. No, this lady. I took a photo with her. Tell me again. Janet. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Two minutes to go.
That's something we have in common. If you remember my name again, Sharon. Yeah, I know what we have in common. Yes. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Hi everyone. Hello, let's go back. Anyone was able to master 10 names? Hello? Hello? Anyone who got 10 names? 10? 10 anyone? Anyone who got 9 names? Oh, Kenyans. My fellow country people. Anyone who got 8? 8 names? Actually, there's an award for 8. Anyone who got 8? No one. 7? Oh, 7. Brian, do you want to take us 7 names?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Brian. Those are the names that I
So you're one.
Yes. Good one. And then we have Martin, we have Jennifer, we have Esther, we have Ruben, we have Dan somewhere. Where's Dan? We have Dan, we have Lillian. Where's Lillian? She's here. And then we have Mountain. Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot the last name. Grace. Those are 8 actually.
Anything you have in common with anyone?
Yes, we all have something in common. We all value child safeguarding.
Nice. Wow. Any other person who wants to introduce the people in the building? Oh, thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Okay, so I'm Esther, Brian, Martin Juma, Jennifer, Ruben, Maya, Dan. Wait, Sharon, Lillian, Mercy. God, who else? Okay, that's it. Bush, oh, that's right here. Right, yeah. So, really amazing to meet all of you, and thank you for doing God's work.
Thank you. Okay, nice. Now that we know each other, I think we are ready to make the extraordinary happen, isn't it? We want to find out why we are here, okay? So, we are on time, but I just want to let you know at about 9:30 a.m. there, we shall welcome our panel that will have discussions around child support and safeguarding with a clear message and a call to action. But before that, we want to welcome our first speaker. He is the reason who said all of us should be here. Why we are hearing those folks meeting the plate is because of him. He's a known player in the child protection, safeguarding space here in Kenya and also beyond. He's done a lot of work and worked with so many of us. I'm here to welcome the CSAC chair, Martin Juma. Welcome, Martin Juma.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mercy, and thank you so much, everyone. I think I feel overwhelmed by just being in the presence of so many beautiful Kenyans this morning. My names, government names, ile ya kitambulisho, Martin Luther Juma. I'm the chairperson of CSAC, the Child Safeguarding Association of Kenya, and I'm also a safeguarding practitioner. I am the founder of Tunza Safeguarding. It's a Kenyan-based consultancy that supports organizations, communities to create safe environments for all. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Honorable Esther Passaris, thank you so much. Members of the NGOs, I think we have a good representative here. We also have partners in education. We have partners in health. We have partners, of course, from the media. This is quite important. We have safeguarding practitioners. We have community members. We are represented by some of our religious leaders as well here. It's an honor to stand here before you and have this discussion around safeguarding. At a personal level, I'm honored to be a father of girls. So it's close to my heart whenever I see people gather to ensure that we protect the African child. Our story is different, and our story has to be told. So safeguarding and through CSAC, it's basically a partnership to ensure that we have the conversation beyond our policies, beyond our structures, and also beyond the institutions. I have a presentation that I'd like to just share, but before we do that, I want to tell you a very short story. This is a personal experience that triggered me at some point in my life to have a conversation on safeguarding children. Sometime back, I think it could be like 10, 15 years ago, I boarded a matatu from Kajiado County. This is Rongai. I was coming into Nairobi County, and you know how matatus keep stopping at the stage. So there was a mother who walked in with a child. The child must have been about 5, 6 years of age. This was a girl. So when we boarded, unfortunately, the mother alighted and left the child in the matatu. So we've gone past Rongai. Those who know Magadi Road well, we are on to multimedia. So everybody's like, hey, na mtoto ni wa nani? Whose child is this? You know, we can't remember. Then the conductor is like, oh, I remember we had this child from a certain stage in Rongai. And everyone panicked. Now, this is one thing about Kenyans. Whenever there is an issue of children, everyone agrees. There's like some sort of amalgamation of thoughts. Everyone agrees. Everyone is giving an opinion. Oh, turudi wapi? Turudi Rongai. Hey, wengine wanasema hapana, mimi nitachukua mtoto. So there is that coming together. But what struck me was the conductor's thought. Because he's done his cost-benefit analysis. Ukirudi Rongai, tutakuwa tumechoma mafuta. Then going up, there is a Kahil Multimedia University. Na sisi tumeshapanda mlima. Tena turudi, tupande tena. So he came up with a very good strategy. He said, wacha tuende town. Mimi nitachukua mtoto. Halafu tutarudi na yeye wapi? Kwa ile stage pahali mama yake alikuwa. Let us go to town, that is Nairobi, then come back to the exact stage where the mom was. I was seated there. I was a bit young, so I was like, okay, that is very interesting. And I felt that was the best approach because they guaranteed that the child is going to be safe. Everyone is with us. They guaranteed that the child is going to get back to the mother, yeah, eventually. So for me, that is what our request in CSAC is. It's coming together so that we can be able to brainstorm. Regardless of our position in community, as CSAC, we will want to invite everyone to come in, have a discussion about that child. The child who's in distress, the child who's vulnerable, the child who's under our custody. This child was a client, remember, is a client to the matatu. So the person who has the highest responsibility, apart from the community, is the conductor in that matatu. The conductor took initiative to come up with an approach that is safe for them and also the child, right? And eventually, the child got back to the mother. So that is what CSAC is about. I want us to remember that analogy as we have the conversation around child safeguarding, okay? Then I will try and bring it home as well eventually as we close out so that we can be able to understand a very clear concept that I'll be presenting here today. So, Maya, if we can, we'll have a bit about what CSAC is. Let me get this. And what CSAC, the value proposition. I know you want to know why we are all here this morning and what is in it for us. It's always an important question, right? So as our MC told us, CSAC basically is an acronym that stands for the Child Safeguarding Association of Kenya. I love stories. There is a lot of stories behind this specific name. If anyone has been to the registrar of associations, they are quite diligent on what they would want you to do. So when we started up, we had so many names, the Child Safeguarding Alliance of Kenya. And at that time, it was a political period. And there were many alliances. And they were really worried, which alliance is this that you guys want to bring up, you know? And then it had the term child. So they were like, if it's children, you have to go to the children's department for you to be registered. Safeguarding, is this security? Why are you talking about safety and children at the same time? So it had a complex path, let me say that, delivery. But eventually, we were able to draw them to understanding what CSAC was. This is a testimony I have to share. I can't go without mentioning this. So I had a challenge with a specific officer in registration. So I'd been there about 2 months. Then one day, she called me and told me, Martin, please come and we are going to register you. She told me she had attended a funeral of a child who was a student at a certain school in Nairobi, a private school in Nairobi. The child, unfortunately, had died because of an incident in school. And the school was not willing to take responsibility at some point. But later on, they decided to take as much responsibility. They agreed to work with the parents. The incident was an accident. It was a sporting activity. And the child got injuries and eventually succumbed. But the school had a process that they worked with the parent and were able to ensure that the parents' needs at that time were met, which were mostly emotional, because you can't replace a child who's passed away. And she told me that process that they went through reminded her of what I have been trying to tell her, because I kept on telling her we are not an organization that directly works with children, but we support organizations to ensure they have policies in place. And that's the reason she called me back and told me, now I understand your concept. That is the story behind the CSAC acronym, right? And we agreed with her that it's going to be an association of Kenya, not an alliance, right? So that's the story. I don't think many people know about this. I think only 2 people in the room will remember this story. So that's how we began. And it's a journey we've walked since 2021, right? Our vision is very clear: to create safe, healthy communities free from child abuse. Safe and healthy communities free from child abuse. The community is everyone, right? We all come from a community. Within your organization, within your institution, within your workspace, it is a community. Then our mission is to foster robust partnership that promotes a stringent safeguarding environment for children within organizations and communities. Underline the term stringent safeguarding environment for all our children. Okay? Moving forward, our overview. Basically, we have objectives. I want to make this brief. It's the boarding session of our launch today. So I'll make it brief and quick, go through the formalities, okay? So our objective is around 1. We stand on a couple of pillars. The 3 pillars are around engaging. We also stand firm on advocacy, which is quite important in any other work, and empowerment, right? Because we all have different resources, ideas, so we need to be able to sharpen each other. So empowerment is really key to what we believe in. One of our key objectives is national conversation. As Kenya, we need to continuously have a discussion around child safeguarding. It's very, very important. I'll try to break down the definition of child safeguarding eventually. Number 2, advocacy and awareness. In the room here, we have people of different capacity and quotas. Mheshimiwa is here as well. She has the audience of Nairobi and all other leaders in this country. So how can we leverage on whatever platforms that we can to be able to advocate and raise awareness around safeguarding? So it's about creating awareness in the process. like-minded individuals come together for awareness and advocacy. Capacity building. Safeguarding, let me just be honest with you, it's a concept that is sometimes very foreign. Anyone in an organization will set up, will be like, okay, so what are these guys doing? We know child protection. So why are these people? Is it a new thing? What is this safeguarding about? Many of us might be aware of policies, structures, or processes around safeguarding. But as CSAC, we really want to put emphasis on implementation. So how does it work for us? Where are the gaps? What happens when an incident occurs? So we want to have that conversation and build capacity beyond the policies, beyond compliance, beyond the donor requirements. Okay, so this is quite key for us. Then importantly, legal and policy frameworks. We can't stand without policy frameworks, right? Kenya has robust laws, bills are coming through. I think we were having a conversation with Mesh, and she was trying to put across the fact that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. What is already in process, right? We have very good bills in Kenya. The Children's Act is super. So what can we slip in? What can we add? Where can we have the conversation with the lawmakers? You know, which frameworks can we work with, including which stakeholders? We have representatives of KEPSA here. We talk to TSC, who are already doing a lot of work in terms of ensuring safe environments for our children in schools. So in private sector. So part of our role is to ensure that we have robust legal frameworks that are working for our children. Then of course, we have safety adherence. At the end of the day, the reason we are here is to ensure that the children that we work with are safe. So we need to walk the talk, right? We need to use and leverage on whatever resources that we have. If we're having an issue in Kibera slums or in Mathare, can we just run to Shofco, who are already part of the community there? Who else is around? Is Wango around? Let's go and see what she's doing so that we can be able to move faster and support our children. Okay, so these are some of the key objectives we are focusing on. Right? We are a few years old. We are actually infants in this. But I feel that if we work together, we can be able to make these objectives a reality. Moving on swiftly, I want to just talk a bit about the founding members. Pali tulitoka. And importantly, the reason why we are where we are today. First of all, I would like to just recognize these members. It's been a journey for us to stand here as humble and honored as we are. Ujamaa Africa, those of us who know Ujamaa, they work with children and youth around behavior change, livelihoods, just youth empowerment. And they work within the communities. They have been instrumental in just giving us that space to engage and have a conversation. We have Bridge International Academies, who've also been part of this work from the beginning, and they have also supported. They do a lot of work within the communities. They are a disruption to the education processes with the approach to education. Of course, we can't miss out on Toto News, right? Toto News have been quite instrumental to keep that conversation online. I think Jenny, she's been very instrumental in just the due diligence around how to set up, how to go forth. She has a lot of experience in engagement and also setting up networks. So Toto News has also been part of us. We have a very good representation around the room. So thank you so much, Jenny, and for just working with us with this journey. Wango Kanja as well. She has been quite instrumental in ensuring that girls are protected. Violence against children. She hosts what they call shelters. She's been a beacon of a lot of hope for many children. So she's been part of our conversation. Apologies from Wango. Until last evening, she was committed to be here, but she's down on, she has a flu. There's a bug running around this Nairobi. So she's down, and she felt that it's best she can rest, but we have a representation here as well. MSF, Medicine Sans Frontières, that's the best I can do in French. I'm trying to, it's like Alliance franchise. It's one of the, many people have got lost in Nairobi trying to look for Alliance Française. So MSF has been part of our conversation as well. And you know the response they usually have, especially when it comes to violence against children. The response rate is chap-chap. Mathare and beyond, you go to Kibera also, they have a lot of experience in responding to matters of violence against children. Then, of course, we have Tunza Safeguarding. It's basically a consultation, but a think tank around safeguarding in general, both for vulnerable adults and children. So we came together at some point in 2021. We were meeting randomly in some hotels, just trying to have the conversation. So how does it look like? Oh, we have a lot of networks on child protection. There's this network I'm in, there's another network I'm in. There are many networks. But do we have a voice for safeguarding? And this is where the clarity comes in. I think if there's anything you will go home with today, is what I'm about to say, right? The difference between CSAC as an association and any other network working with children is based on the definition of child safeguarding and child protection. Why did we agree to have a different platform and not join the bandwagon on child protection? So this is a simple question. I want to throw it first to the room. My 2 cents as a student has taught me that people will remember more if you first break the ice of knowledge. Then you let them know what happened. So for 5 marks, who knows the difference between child protection and child safeguarding? Who can give us clarity? Why child protection? Yes, it's child protection we've been talking about, but child safeguarding. Oh, Brian.
Volunteer.
Okay, I'll come to Brian. Brian is really smart. This guy got like 8, 9 of the names in the room. Yes, do we have a mic that can go? Okay, so since you have the mic on, you go ahead, and then I'll present it.
So good morning. My name is Martin and I'm representing Equity Group Foundation. I'll give it in the form of a very short story. And I will ask you, what did your parents do to ensure that when they come back home, when you are a child, when they come back home, they find you safe, secure, and alive? So they left you with someone take care of you. Others were left with threats. Right? Then others were left with a lot of work. Isn't it? That is safeguarding for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jackie Mutai. I work with CBM Global Disability Inclusion. I think safeguarding for us means that we are preventing harm from happening to children or adults at risk. So it's wider than just protection, prevent. It also includes prevention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The good thing about adult education is that everyone is right. Our opinions stand. Everyone is correct. Any other attempt? And I'm trying to avoid this space because you have the answer sheet. Yes, kindly just pass the mic to her.
Hello everybody.
Good
My
morning.
name is Mara from Itoto News. I'm a safeguarding officer. Safeguarding is what happens to make sure harm doesn't happen, from policies, procedures, right? And protection is, now perhaps this kid, the harm has come, now what do we do after that? Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Good one. Thank you, Mora. Okay, last attempt. Sorry, the mic. Thank you, Cheryl.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hilda. I'm from Igwinet. The difference between child safeguarding and child protection is child safeguarding is more proactive, while child protection is more reactive. So what this means is that while child safeguarding deals with, okay, we need to have measures and just anything to protect the child. For instance, if you are all of us, this is a room, this is safeguarding because you already have a room around us. But if it is reactive, we're already in a room, so there's already risk that is there. So I think that is what I believe is the difference between the two. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. And I feel we have an idea of what it is, but I would like to then state this quite clearly. So child safeguarding. Child safeguarding are measures that organizations, institutions put in place to ensure that children are safe when they are within their compound, within their programs, within their activities. Are we together? It's internally facing. It's about the organization's responsibility. It's about the organization's accountability. It's about the organization's processes and policies. The organization or institution could be the county, could be a school, could be a law firm, could be a counseling practice. So they set up structures. For example, if you have a child at school, what has the school done to ensure that this child is safe when they're in school? So the safety could be physical safety, emotional safety, right? Does abuse occur in schools? Yes, it can happen. If it happens, what do we do? Another example would be the stringent measures an organization within HR, vetting your staff to ensure that they don't have a history of abuse. Number two, ensuring that you orient them on your code of conduct and policy process. So these are all initiatives by the institution. Thirdly, if abuse occurs, I mentioned about the school. Do you have survivor support? Do you ensure that the child who has been abused or is in emotional distress has been able to receive therapy or has gone to hospital for medical attention? Do you have a legal aid process after this? Do you have administrative action, right? Is somebody going to get fired? People like Rolls heading when children are abused. So what happens after that? Those stringent measures is what we call safeguarding. Internally facing, it's about our values, it's about our culture, it's about our perception to ensuring our environment are safe for our children. Child protection, on the other hand, is measures, processes, initiatives to ensure children are protected against violence, abuse, exploitation that occurs outside. So it is externally facing. It's about incidences or abuse that occurs outside the institution. I'll give you a very good example. If a child attends a school in Nairobi, however, there is an incident at home, maybe they were physically assaulted by their uncle, that is the responsibility, one, of the parents. They're called duty bearers, community members, or even government, because government at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. It's about the processes at that level. The police, for example, whose responsibility is it afterwards? So it's externally facing. If it happens within the community and it does not affect a member of your institution, then it is not safeguarding. It is child protection. The duty bearers are outside the space of school. If a child, for example, in a school in Nairobi, is assaulted by a teacher in that school, it's a safeguarding concern, meaning the school has to take responsibility to ensure that that child is safe. There is a jurisdiction, there is a boundary, and many organizations have been having a challenge here because the child is abused at home, but the responsibility is given to the school. The school might not have, one, the expertise, two, resources and competency to respond to the needs of the child because they're not child protection organizations, and the abuses happen outside the school. So where does the boundary lies? That's where safeguarding comes in. So as an institution, you have your policies quite clear and say, as an institution X, we can't take over this. However, there is a referral, right? We can refer to these organizations who are experts. But if the incident occurs in school, it is the responsibility of the school to take this child and respond. That's the clear difference. Safeguarding is internally facing. It is our responsibility as an institution. And we need to have policies and we need to have processes. Child protection is outward facing. It happens within the space of our community, but it's not necessarily the full responsibility of any institution. These are the clear differences. I'll give other examples. A very quick question. It's a trick question, so you need to be careful. If you are teachers, right, or within your organization, you attend a wedding, you're invited to a wedding, you go to sherehe, and they tell you, you come to a wedding. So when you arrive there, you find that the bride is a minor. Minor meaning under 18. Right? In Kenya, we are, the consent for sex and marriage is over 18. You have to be an adult. So you find that your colleague is marrying a minor. Is that a safeguarding issue or a child protection issue? You work for an institution that are quite clear. We protect children, we have these policies, whatever, our laws say this. But when you go there, you find your colleague is marrying a minor. Is that a safeguarding issue or a child protection issue? It's both. Okay. That's a quick one. Anyone who can just discern this? Brian, you want to go?
I want to try it.
Okay.
The fact that you mentioned is your colleague, and in the definition you clearly provided us states that safeguarding is about, it's inwards, it's about the organization.
Right.
So number one, that colleague is violating the code of conduct, is violating the laws that are set for by the organization. And then it's also a child protection issue because we have a minor here who is getting married, which is in clear violation of our laws.
Okay. Any other quick attempt? But we're both. We want to separate the sheep from the goats. Both. Just a show of hand. If you believe this is both a child protection and child safeguarding issue. Hands up. Okay. If you believe this is a child safeguarding issue. Hands up. Child safeguarding issue. Okay. This is a child protection issue. Okay. I'll really be interested. Sorry I'm taking a bit of your time, but this concept is quite key for us to move forward.
I am leaning towards the child protection.
Right.
This is because the child that is getting married is outside the organization. The fact that the teacher is attending the wedding and it's outside the vicinity of the school premises, then I would like towards more of child protection.
Okay. Thank you very much. And apologies for the confusion, but it was quite intentional. This is one, a child safeguarding issue, but also has a protection component. Why is it a child safeguarding issue? Every teacher or every staff has a code of conduct signed that they're not going to abuse or take advantage or exploit children. So this, in their position as a teacher, regardless of whether they're in the community, they have a standing. And the school has a right to administrative action, because this person within their space has violated our code of conduct, has violated our policy, right? And this is one of the reasons why I put a lot of emphasis on separating child protection and child safeguarding, so that we can be able to have a critical look on how to respond. There has been a lot of confusion, especially among institutions and organizations and communities, on whose responsibility is it to respond. That clarity, that specific clarity, is why we are here as CISA, to be able to bring that clear difference as organizations, as churches, for example, as religious institutions. How do we take that responsibility as our own? It's internally facing, it's about us. Are we together?
Yes.
If you have an issue within your home, you first deal with it before you go out. And that's where safeguarding begins. That is my attempt. I hope it is clear, and I think we can also always have a conversation beyond this specific meeting. And that's why we want the media as well to understand this process and use the correct terminologies, especially when it comes to response. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with someone. And we have to be very clear on who has to bear the responsibility. In conclusion, so my father is a clergy, and they have 4 or 5 conclusions. So this is conclusion number 2. Our call for action is that you join the movement as a member or as a partner. As a member, we invite you as individuals. You can be part of the association so that you can be able to have conversations beyond your policies, beyond your workspace. We also want organizations to join, because some of us are already in the business of safeguarding. It's not news, it's not rocket science. It's quite clear to some of the organizations, but those of us who need further support, you're welcome to be part of CISA, right? So you can join as an individual or as a member organization. The space is safe and open for all. Secondly, we also want to emphasize the significance of the launch in child safeguarding in the space in Kenya. To be honest, when you go to the West, and I don't want to make this a Western thing, there is a lot of compliance requirements when it comes to safeguarding. You cannot run an organization. Counties have safeguarding policies, and it is the county's role to ensure that there is compliance and audit. So at the end of the year, all organizations do an audit, and the county vets the audit for them to get the compliance certificate. Ni kama ile nini ya kanjo ya certificate ya kila mwaka, those of us who run businesses, or a health compliance certificate. So the space is to ensure that we have those standards. Thirdly, one of our call for action is highlight the need of partnerships. You can't work as a silo. You can't work as a silo in safeguarding. We have to work together. Government, civil society, education partners, private sector, communities. We have to work together. Lastly, individuals. We can't have this space without having individuals. And there's one thing I always say, put on your safeguarding lenses. Some of us, unfortunately, in ignorance, or even our communities, our parents, we, for example, hire minors. You hire a nanny. You get a 17-year-old and put them in your house, right? So as an individual, how are you able to ensure that you're also safeguarding other people's children? So this is also an individual call to ensure that our children are safe. Many examples can be said, I'll give you another quick example. This is something I saw in a certain church in Kenya. Took a child for an event, and they had a code, a barcode, right? So that when the child walks in, there's a code so that the parent receives. So when you come back to pick your child, you have to have that code. That's a very simple example of a safeguarding process. It's not a child protection process, it's internally facing. It's an initiative of the organization to ensure that children are safe. Another good example I saw is that I'm also familiar with a church that has started a safe space for children with disabilities, you know, or any religious institution. Usually we have the main church, then we have a church for mothers, newborns, but do we really have a space for other children with maybe special needs, and how do we work around it? This is a safeguarding initiative. So the conversation is beyond just the policy. It's how we view our children and how we create safe spaces for all. So I don't want to belabor this particular point, but we are really passionate about ensuring that safeguarding is bigger than the conversation it has right now in Kenya. We also want this to be a platform for our neighbors, right? This is the first of a kind, and I'll tell you for free. It's the first of a kind of an association within this continent. I've worked around this continent for a couple of years, and I think CSAC is the first initiative in our continent to have a specific association around safeguarding practitioners. So it's a good thing. Yeah, you can clap at this point. Asanteni sana. And we want to just encourage all of us that together, let's safeguard our future. Asanteni sana. I hope we are able to become members as soon as possible. We have a couple of forms that you can quickly just show your commitment. Then we can have the conversation beyond that. I know wengine watauliza maswali, ni pesa ngapi hii kitu kujoin, what is in it for me? There is a lot in it for you. This is our third year of practice, and we hope we'll have a wider space as well. We'll send you a work plan for the rest of the year, so that you can also be aware of some of the activities that we propose for 2024. So thank you so much, MC. Karibu sana.
How about that to start us off? Another round of applause.